Welcome to our Melbourne adventure. In today's video, we took a unique approach to planning our 9-day trip. Instead of relying on our own research and recommendations, we decided to let ChatGPT design the entire itinerary. Let's see how it went. Dear, we are going to Melbourne!
So, using ChatGPT, we were able to save valuable time and get quick insights on the best attractions and local experiences. However, we also wanted to make this video useful to you to get ideas on what you may want to do in Melbourne, so we'll try to be brief and to the point and show you the many of the great things Melbourne has to offer.
So, like ChatGPT's recommendation, you might consider taking it easy and just get familiar with the neighborhood for the first day. For us, as John was sick on the first day, I went out on my own to explore the city a bit after we checked into our Airbnb apartment, such as checking out the central business district, the beautiful state library and more. And strolling around Melbourne is easily something you ought to do, as the city has so many vibrant laneways and captivating street art that you just have to see. And visiting the state library was perfect, as I'm a bit of a library and book nerd. In the spirit of ChatGPT's recommendation, we took it easy on day 1, which was a good suggestion. We anyways give the recommendations 10 out of 10.
On our second day, following ChatGPT's suggestion, we embarked on a trip to the Great Ocean Road to see the 12 Apostles. At first, we were unsure of whether we were going to pick a tour or rent a car ourselves. However, we soon craved flexibility and the chance to stop at random places, so we opted to rent a car for a day, and to drive the faster inland route on the way down and the coastal route on the way back.
And our first random stop along the way was at a chocolate shop and alpaca farm. And because we like to stop at various random places along the way, we quickly ran out of time to reach the main site of the day, the iconic 12 Apostles. But luckily we reached it just in time before the light fall, and the long drive of about 3 to 4 hours was well worth it.
However, since our whole Melbourne trip was packed with lots of activities, we had planned to drive all the way back to our Airbnb in Melbourne at night. But on our way back, we decided that it would be a shame to drive the rest of the scenic Great Ocean Road in the dark, as opposed to driving during sunrise where the sun rises over the ocean to the east. So we made a spontaneous decision to stay at a beachfront motel in Apollo Bay overnight and to leave early in the morning.
The Great Ocean Road is well known, so it was not a rocket science suggestion from ChatGPT, but a good one nonetheless. But it had originally suggested a day trip, which is very short for such long distances, and we realized at least making it a 2-day trip would be way better. We'll give it a 7 out of 10.
So for our third day, because of the changes we made on day 2, we woke up early at 5 AM to drive along the Great Ocean Road and to Teddy's Lookout to witness the breathtaking views.
Good morning! Once arriving back in Melbourne and returning the car, we were quite tired. So we didn't follow ChatGPT's morning and afternoon itinerary, and John had to get some work done and I was so sleepy. Sorry, ChatGPT. So this quickly became a day where all plans went out the window. But we were having a lot of fun, as John loves quirky and unusual activities and sights. He took charge and brought us to Easey's, which is a unique restaurant inside train cars on top of a building. How's your train experience?
Good, but we are at the station now, you see?
We arrived. It's just your reflection.
You gotta go.
Then, the staff at Easey's recommended we check out Storyville, and so there's where we headed next. And Storyville was so cool. It's essentially a quirky Alice in the Wonderland bar with fascinating drinks. And as I used to love Alice in the Wonderland as a kid, it was a perfect fun place for a nice drink.
Then, at about 8 p.m, we headed to Queen Victoria Market's Winter Market, which ChatGPT had forgot to tell us was only open on Wednesdays, so we really felt we had to go, and it didn't disappoint at all. Beyond the huge crowds, delicious food and great entertainment, the most fun and random thing at the market was that we suddenly got pulled into a silent disco activity, where you all are given headsets to hear an instructor and music and you go about dancing like a crazy person around the venue. That was so much fun. Overall, while we were to blame for the changes of plans in the morning, ChatGPT had messed up by suggesting the Queen Victoria Market on a day the Winter Market was not open. Luckily, we caught that and changed accordingly. And another perhaps obvious ChatGPT lesson is that the tool is typically not going to suggest the more quirky, unique things, and we probably wouldn't have found these other gems such as Easey's and Storyville without some research ourselves and from talking with locals. So just 5 out of 10 today for ChatGPT.
So for our 4th day, ChatGPT had led us with 2 choices: to go see Hillsview Sanctuary or do the Phillip Island tour to see the penguin parade. We opt for the latter as we love animals so much. And while it is true that we enjoy driving ourselves and it gives us more flexibility, sometimes a guided tour is just the best because it is just so much easier. So we opted for a local tour to explore the wonders of Phillip Island and witness the penguin parade. And this day was so full of adventure and unique fun activities that we will share this day in a lot of more details in next week's video. And to briefly summarize, we visited a lot of great places such as the famous colorful Brighton Bathing Boxes and the amazing Maru Koala Animal Park, and seeing the wonderful coastal views of Nobbies National Park and more. And then we arrived to witness the amazing penguin parade, and as the sun set, we eagerly gathered along the shore to witness around 1,000 adorable penguins waddling back to their nests from the vast ocean. This day was such a heartwarming and eventful day, and we look forward to sharing it in more detail next week, so stay tuned for that.
And as for ChatGPT, thank you. This was a fabulous suggestion, and while it offered us 2 choices and we're sure that Hillsview Sanctuary is also great, we're so glad we went for this tour. But what ChatGPT failed to mention is that most tours to Phillip Island include a lot of exciting stops along the way, which was a delightful surprise to us. Because of all that, and that we were left with choices, we'll give you 9 out of 10 ChatGPT.
As for our 5th day, as we were told to relax in the morning, so we did. Oh well, kinder. John worked on his computer while I hit the gym. And then we went to see the National Gallery that we had missed from ChatGPT's Day 3 suggestion. On our way, we first grabbed a quick but delicious breakfast.
Then, as we headed to the National Gallery, we did 3 short unplanned stops along the way, which were all nearby. First, a quick visit to St. Paul's Cathedral, where we lit a candle and prayed for Ukraine. Then we walked past the famous Flinders Street Station and the Yarra River, and then a final stop on the way at the Australian Music Vault, which was a cool place to listen to Australian music.
Then we finally reached our destination, the massive National Gallery of Victoria, which was full of treasures, though John seemed confident he could make some of the art himself.
Next, we embarked on a magical journey to the Princess Theatre to experience Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. We had watched all the movies ahead of the show to prepare, and since the renowned show would stop operating from July 9th, this was going to be our only chance to see it. At the show, we were treated to a 3-hour spectacle of amazing magic, captivating storytelling, and an exceptional acting.
We truly loved the show, and if they ever bring it back, we will highly recommend you to check it out. And thereafter, we ventured into the heart of Melbourne CBD for a delightful Thai dinner to end this great day. Overall, ChatGPT gave perfect suggestions for the show and the seats, and it was great having the flexibility in the morning for whatever we wanted, which enabled us to see a lot in the nearby area. 10 out of 10. Good job, ChatGPT.
For our 6th day, however, what we ended up doing would not align 100% with ChatGPT's suggestions. First of all, we had already been to Queen Victoria Market earlier on the trip, so to allow for greater flexibility, we picked the future suggestion of visiting the Fitzroy Gardens in East Melbourne in the morning. Next up was technically going to be the Royal Botanic Gardens, but it had come to our attention that during the winter in Melbourne there is a special light show in the Royal Botanic Gardens during night, which seemed a lot more interesting than visiting during daytime. So we decided for some other fun in the afternoon and then to delay the Botanic Gardens until night.
And so we instead decided to soar the Liu Heights at the Melbourne Skydeck, which is approximately 297 meters tall. It offers stunning panoramic views of the city and its surroundings, and we opted for the ultimate Skydeck experience, which included a lot of thrilling experiences.
First off, we tried the VR Voyager Theater, which was an immersive and exhilarating experience that takes you on a virtual journey through the city and the sights, events, and sports it's known for. I thought this was going to be some gimmicky lame experience, but the visuals were quite breathtaking, and for example, when suddenly sitting courtside at Australia Open, or driving the Great Ocean Road, or flying helicopter over the city, it almost felt like you were there. And it even included smells, which made it all so much more real. The second activity at the Skydeck was The Edge, which is a glass box that extends out from the building's top for almost 10 heart-pounding minutes. As we're both terrified of heights, this was scary but so much fun at the same time. And the third activity at the Skydeck was the VR plank, which maybe is an activity best suited for kids. To us at least, it felt quite basic and unrealistic, but we had fun.
And then it was time to head to the Royal Botanic Gardens for their LightScape show, which was a fantastic 40-minute stroll through the park at light with lots of beautiful lights and art installations. It was definitely worth a visit. And not only were the art installations so beautiful, but they were also accompanied with so beautiful varied music around the park that made the experience feel really magical.
While ChatGPT had suggested the Royal Botanic Gardens, it had suggested it during the day and failed to mention the unique lightscape that occurs at night during the winter. And overall, we were surprised that it hadn't suggested the Skydeck for any of our days, which is an activity that we would highly recommend to anyone visiting Melbourne. And one of the things that was really enjoyable at the top of the Eureka Skydeck building was that we could go outdoors and really feel the wind and atmosphere, and the city was so beautiful from above. You really start to appreciate the size and beauty of Melbourne once you're up there, if you didn't already. Anyways, 8 out of 10 for ChatGPT.
For our 7th day, we embarked on a full-day winery tour. We're both pretty ignorant when it comes to wine, but that's also one of the reasons such an activity will be extra interesting to us.
Our pickup point was next to Hosier Lane, which is known for its graffiti, so we took a sneak peek before the bus tour started. However, compared to many other amazing alleyways we had seen in Melbourne, we felt it was not that special, but nonetheless cool. During the winery tour, we would visit 3 wineries and 1 chocolatier, and the latter was definitely what Polly had looked most forward to. She loves her chocolate.
For the third winery, Yarra Farm, we were too tipsy and just having a good time that we forgot about recording anything.
We had a lot of fun and enjoyed our time with all the participants, and we gained a deeper appreciation of wine and the work that goes into it. And then after our winery visits, it was finally Polly's chance to load up on some chocolate and ice cream at Yarra Valley Chocolatier and Ice Creamery. This is how you make chocolate.
Holly and a chocolate factory. Thank you. Thank you. Great suggestion for a day trip, especially if interested in wines or open to learning more. And we bought so much chocolate with us that we still have a lot left at home. 10 out of 10.
All the wine we had on the previous day may have been a factor in spoiling the itinerary for our 8th day. While we were meant to visit the Melbourne Museum and grab a nice dinner near the Yarra River, we simply felt tired and wanted to make a more chill day. So Polly headed out for some shopping while I did some work, and then we went for a workout, and then we just ordered lots of home delivery Korean chicken for dinner, and for some reason we ended up doing a movie marathon of Adam Sandler movies. I'm not sure if we can blame ChatGPT for not considering being somewhat hungover from the wine tour, but it is at least something to consider for you if you're heading for a similar trip. Maybe plan to take it easy on the day after, and we certainly can't blame ChatGPT for not suggesting Adam Sandler movies. As this date turned out to be nothing like the suggestions, I think it's fair to just simply not give any rating for ChatGPT for this day.
For our final day, there was nothing on the agenda except for checking out and preparing for our trip back home to the Gold Coast. So John had planned a silly surprise, making me drag the luggage all across Melbourne City to see this.
So Polly is slightly annoyed because we walked across the whole city with our luggage for our last day, but we're going to see the main attraction in Melbourne. Can you guess what it is?
The sea, the harbour!
Yeah, what's over there?
A cow? A cow?
Yes! Cow up in a tree! Alright, let's go to a Chinese restaurant then.
No, you kill my mood.
What do you mean? You're not in a good mood?
And then, to luck make me hungry, we went for a special hotpot place that I really wanted to try before we left. And it was so delicious and so nice how you could customize and choose any ingredients yourself. We kinda rushed ChatGPT on its suggestion for the final day, and it was good with some flexibility, and because the flight was in the afternoon, we didn't have much time for various activities. So, while an easy itinerary suggestion, it was nonetheless a good one. 10 out of 10.
So, how do we think ChatGPT did overall? Well, we think it did a pretty good job at recommending things for our trip, but it was all largely main touristy things and not all things catering to our tastes and preferences. And we, just like you, are each unique individuals with different interests and desires, so it's not reasonable to think it could do a perfect job, and it does acknowledge that itself too. But depending on the prompt and giving ChatGPT more background information, it may have done a greater job with its suggestions. And so, as you should generally do for any ChatGPT use case, it is helpful to get initial planning and brainstorming done, but thereafter you ought to do your own due diligence to finalize things and tweak it based on your needs.
We anyways hope that our Melbourne experiences can be helpful in your own Melbourne plans in the future. And if they did or you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to stay tuned. Next week, we'll show you a lot more of our trip to Phillip Island with the penguins, white kangaroos and more, which we're excited to share about. That's all for today. Stay awesome and keep exploring. Bye!